joining us live in the studio now for some quick reactions to what has happened today, as well as the way the government has reacted. The Samajwadi Party's Kamal Farooqi. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening here on this broadcast. Well-known activist Sadia Dehlvi is also with us in our studio, and joining us live from Mumbai is author and activist Pinki Virani, who we will be going across to. She's the author of a book on Aruna Shanbag, the nurse who was raped and left for dead and who continues to be alive in Mumbai. I want to start this off by putting a question to Mr. Kamal Farooqi. Mr. Farooqi, what do you think was wrong with today? For 12 hours, nobody came out to talk to any of those thousands of people who gathered at Vijay Chowk, Raisina Hill. These were people who were angry. They were students, they were young people. It was spontaneous anger. How differently do you think the government could have handled this entire situation? They're coming out now at 8 o'clock and speaking to them in a written statement.
It's really very painful because these youths represent the entire country, and this is not happening in Delhi. It's happening all around the country, and we see, and it was building up not today, it was building up even the day before yesterday itself. Yesterday also it was the build up all over the country, and the government and intelligence agencies were not absolutely clear as to what is going to happen. And these small young people, I've seen them. They hardly they would be
late
teens, in fact. And if they are being treated like this is shameful for the police. In fact, now they are trying to say that they are passing on the buck to 4 or 5 officers. But something is wrong with their handling of these kind of situations. And mind it, they were not supported by any political party, any political person. It was a spontaneous, and these spontaneous kind of thing, the government should be very careful about it. And more particularly, we should be very careful in handling our youth, our children. If they will be treated like this, and nobody is talking to them since morning, and even after that, when they were protesting silently, it's remarkable that rather I have got great faith in these youngsters, in fact, that since morning they were doing it in the cold weather in Delhi, and still they were very, very decent. They were organizing the whole thing in a very peaceful manner. But how the police has handled the whole thing, and how I'm sorry to say this, that the kind of a statement which Mr. Shinde has made right now, it should have been proper for them to approach these youths directly. Go there and
what is stopping them from going to
Vijay? Absolutely. After all,
the police can't even control this group of kids which are protesting. I mean, you know, it's so shameful the way they've been lathi charged. I mean, of course they're angry, they're frustrated. Mr. Shinde is now making all the right noises, and so is Mr. Manish Tiwari. I mean, they're saying all the right things. But why did it take so long? Why did it take so long for the government to say this? And importantly, why all these things that they are saying, women activists in particular and other groups that have been talking about this for years. It's not a new problem, but unfortunately it has taken such a huge tragedy to shake the government up and talk about these reforms or these measures which should have been placed a long time ago. We can only hope that in the coming as soon as we see the justice, and in this case, and and as they are saying these cases will be fast tracked and these measures are put in place immediately.
Isn't it a matter of timing? I want to quickly get an opening comment from Pinki Virani. Mr. Farooqi, I'm just going to come back to you. Pinki, does the government have reason to be worried from what they've seen and not really been able to get a handle on spontaneous protests right through the day, not just in Delhi, but we've seen them happening in Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata as well? Should the government be worried?
I think first things first, we as a nation, those of us who try and do whatever little we can as private citizens to make changes for our next generations, and things have become so tough for us, and we wonder whether we are doing the right thing and whether it's all worth it. And then you look at the children today, marvelous, of course we are doing the right thing, of course it's worth it. Look at them, they're absolutely, what is the word they use, awesome.
They are.
And I want to congratulate them through your channel, first of all. Secondly, this yesterday night through the media, and it was picked up extensively on Twitter. I asked, where is the bloody Prime Minister? Those are the exact words I asked. I am still asking, where is the bloody Prime Minister?
Yes.
Don't send out your Home Minister 12 hours later after you've water cannoned our kids.
Good question. Good point.
And don't send out your Home Minister with some little thing, you know. Where are you, man? You are the longest serving Prime Minister after Indira Gandhi, and you are a shame. You are a shame. Things fall apart when the center does not hold. That's a phrase from a book.
Yes.
I mean, our country has been falling down systematically for the last 8.5 years, and this is what you've brought us to. No. You've taken our kids, our wonderful kids. Look at them today. And look at what the young men there, they are such an excellent example to those wretched khap panchayats.
Yes, absolutely.
Who think women should have their place through their men.
Pinki, I want you to actually.
I am still asking.
I want you to hear actually from the site of those protests what some of those people think. I want you to stay with me, Pinki. I'm going to go across to my reporter who was there the entire day today. Jugal Purohit is a reporter who has been there at Vijay Chowk, India Gate, Raisina Hill from 7 this morning, just shortly before all those protests actually started. He has seen everything play out over there. And I also have Preeti Chaudhary with me, but I want to get in Jugal first. Jugal, not a single person has gone there. From the morning, there were expectations that someone from the government would step in, have the decency or perhaps the common sense to step in and diffuse this entire situation, but nothing has happened. After the Home Minister's press conference, there is even more anger perhaps that the Prime Minister himself has done just nothing.
Well, Shiv, you know, this is a situation where while we were covering the entire duration of the protest, which for your information are still continuing as you can see on your screens.
Yes.
The one common point which kept coming out from different protesters was the fact that why are we being treated as people who are out here to pose a threat to the law and order machinery or to the security of these VIP areas. They said that they were here only to seek some effective action from the government and only to engage with the government in a certain dialogue so that something meaningful emerge, can emerge out of this really ghastly tragedy which has struck us. But all that they got was lathi. Of course, we cannot forget the fact that there were some members from the public who actually vandalized. But the point here is that all of that happened after almost 7 to 8 hours of patient waiting and sloganeering, and in that entire time, Shiv, to be very honest, it felt as if India did not have a government, because the only people who were dealing with those protesters were policemen in khaki who did not really have the mandate or the political skill to actually engage with a crowd like that. So that is the moot point here. A lot of people saying, where is the government of India? Why is it that they have not come out when we, the people, could march on to Raisina Hill complex? What further does the government of India need that they could come and engage with them?
It's an absentee Prime Minister, absentee government sort of situation. I want to go across to Preeti who has some of those protesters with her. Preeti, I can tell you, and you've been listening as well, Kamal, Farooqi, Sadia Dehlvi, Pinki Virani, they've all praised the protesters. They've all said they're good people with clean hearts who've come there spontaneously. Why hasn't the government had the decency to engage with them directly? What are they thinking right now? Because the government will have reason to worry.
You know, Shiv, your panel is completely right. It's not a day of empty speeches. It's not a day of lip service. It's not a day of press conference to be called at 7:30 or 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the evening.
Yes.
It's a day which has belonged to the protester of the country. So let me get in voices from them. I'm going to inform them the Home Minister just held this big press conference. And Shiv, if we give you the anatomy of this protest, which is now taken in a form of a movement, day one, people were demanding answers from the Chief Minister, from the Delhi Police Commissioner. They got none. Day two, again, they got none. Day three, they took their fight to the doorstep of the Home Minister. Do you remember, Shiv?
Yes.
There was a contingent of these protesters who marched their way to the Home Minister's office in North Block 3 days back. They got zero. They got nothing. Yesterday, they took the protest to the doorstep of the President. They got absolutely nothing. They've had enough, is what we are getting, what we are picking from the crowds here. The question that I'm going to put forth is, what do you want? Do you want the Prime Minister now to make a public statement? Or Are you happy with what the Home Minister is doing?
We need a statement right now because we need a result on the spot. We don't want any person to be waiting in the jail because it's a
We get it. We understand. So, these are people, and I'm going to tell your panel also, Shiv, these are people who've taken lathis on their back. Let me get in more people. Do you want a direct message to be sent to the Prime Minister? You want a public address by the Prime Minister now? You've had enough?
Okay, yes, of course, but this is a little off track. I'm not too sure whether I should say it or not, but of course, when we are talking about a girl being raped, it's not about a political issue. I don't know why the entire...
But these are the people, they're custodians of your faith. If I can ask the crowds which have gathered there, do you want a reaction coming in from the Prime Minister now? Have you guys had enough?
Yes, we want a reaction.
Back to the studio.
Okay,
I'd like to just say something that, this is again, these are young kids, they're not RSS back, they're not BJP back, they're not SP back, they're not sponsored. They're not politicians, so it's not like, they had something to say about the Anna movement and they had the resume. These are just young kids with no political affiliations, and I cannot understand why any leader really in extempore couldn't just have gone and talked to them and ease them or come out, whether it would be, Rahul Gandhi, a young man, or even Pranab. I mean, he's a people's president. He's just living there. Why couldn't he just walk over and do something completely extempore?
That's something a lot of people are curious about. People have been saying,
these are kids.
What happened to all those troubleshooting skills of Pranab Mukherjee? He's the president. He could have easily have come out and spoken to them.
It's his house.
I know, but if you really go through the entire press conference, it's a very, very disturbing press conference because they have not come out and anything. It was more a diplomatic and political kind of a statement. Nothing could be made out. You asked there was
not one strong comment.
Some of the people asked time and again various questions, and the answer was a stereotype. In fact, all these youths, in fact, and this is really marvelous. This is something which should be remembered in the times to come. In fact, all these kids who are college going in their teens, but without any political ambition, without any political backing, they have come out for a cause.
And they've achieved what women's groups have been trying for years.
And the way, what actually I'm trying to say, the mindset of the police is very bad. You would have seen it that some sting operation, even day before yesterday, even after the rape,
it's in the DNA.
So it's absolutely the kind of impression which they are having in private. On public, they may not be talking about it. On public, they have suspended 5 people. But look at the mindset of the police itself. What they are talking even now. The way they have been treating the whole thing.
You are a political person. I'd also like to reflect on the kind of criminality and that is in the political system itself. The message that comes. There are MPs, there are MLAs who get tickets, who have
across political parties,
who are charged with other serious criminal charges and abuse of women in particular. They seem to, there seems to be no problem. And they get elected. They get elected to assemblies. They get elected to a parliament.
Okay, that's an important
corruption
point
of our system.
Absolutely.
And that trickles down. There's no strong message.
The fact that there are MLAs and MPs who have rape charges against them cuts across party lines. In fact, here on Headlines Today, we've been doing stories over the last couple of days where we've actually shown the faces of these MLAs and MPs. But I want to get in Pinki again. Pinki, we just spoke to some of those protesters who are with our reporters right there at India Gate. What is your message for them, Pinki? Apart from wanting to see the Prime Minister and, wanting a statement, all of those things are absolutely legitimate demands. But, there is always a danger. This being a young movement, a spontaneous movement, there is always the danger that it will fritter out just as quickly as it started. How does one ensure that the momentum and pressure is maintained and this can actually become the sort of tipping point that everyone is perhaps hoping it is?
Let me answer this through a question that a young lady asked there, and she sounded very vulnerable. So let me try and answer this through
she's listening to you.
Question. She said, "What is the use of a statement from the Prime Minister? This is about a raped woman." Indeed, that is absolutely right. The reason why we would want a statement from the Prime Minister is because we would want to know what kind of timeline the nation can look at to get a proper law. Now, why is there this problem today? The problem today and why all our children have collected is, what is the fasad ki jad? Is it the police who has lathi charged them? No, the police are puppets.
Yes.
The fasad ki jad is every single politician in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha which has not passed this particular bill, which has been pending since a while.
Right.
Yes, the part that is being talked about now was not a part of the bill and will need separate discussion in the House, and we must allow that discussion, because when we vote people into power, even if we are stupid to vote them into power when they are rapists, murderers, and in the case of recent elections, genocidists, if that is the word.
Yes.
Even if we are stupid enough to do it, we can still expect a certain amount of
why not
thought process that they can put in for us. So this part of the amendment to the bill, which is already pending, definitely needs to be talked about in Parliament by all our people, and most definitely by what is called our House of Elders, which is the Rajya Sabha.
Yeah.
That part needs to be done. What we would need to know is when this would get done by the Prime Minister, because he is the only chap authorized to do it, and there is really no point in him now sort of hiding behind the pallos of women like Sonia Gandhi and Sheila Dikshit. It is time for the Prime Minister to step up.
It's now, time for the...
To answer the other part.
Yes.
As far as what happens, how long do we keep up the pressure?
Yeah.
It's not up to our kids to keep up the pressure. It's not even up to us to keep up the pressure. Our job is to go out there and be decent citizens in the best circumstances possible, and God alone knows these politicians make it almost impossible for us.
But Sadia,
aren't the politicians just waiting for the pressure to be taken energized? Whose job is this for the pressure? The job is that one of the gentlemen is sitting just now in your studio.
No, Pinki, that may be true.
It's his pressure.
Pinki, that may be true, but if the pressure is taken off for even a moment, the pressure is off the government. The government is fine with that, Sadia.
No, I think they will this time really have to legislate, and I think people will demand answers.
Yeah.
But that's only one part of it, and the other serious concerns are, which I don't know if Mr. Shede outlined, is the gender sensitization of the
Delhi Police Commissioner also spoke about that.
They did. So these, and also reflecting on our own societal values, what kind of, the kind of, whether it's parental guidance or the kind of, in school, the workshops in school. And I think media also can have a sustained campaign on these issues to really make people aware. And yes, if this person is really, well, I'm not really I'm not, I think asking for hanging is a bit knee-jerk reaction, but I think
it is an emotive issue.
If it's an emotive, people are outraged, understandably. But I think the main thing is that we have to, the perception is that the rapist, is that he can either just go scot-free. I mean, 1 out of 4 rapists is convicted. So, he feels he can bribe his way, or through networking, they're out on bail. And they, so the perception, I think if a strong punishment does go out and continues to go out and be covered by the media, I think the perception that the rapist cannot get away scot-free is very important. It needs to filter down.
Kamal Farooqi, keeping aside all political considerations, leanings, all of that aside for a moment, if you were a decision maker in government right now, what would be, just give me a list of the things that you would do right now in the face of what you've seen in Delhi today and over the last few days?
First of all, I don't want to rag up the whole issue, but personally speaking, I am for treating it as the rarest of the rarest, in fact.
Yes.
And people, because the society is being very badly damaged by these kind of rapists and these kind of criminals, in fact. Now, they are saying that, yes, I have done it, hang me. But this is just an emotional kind of, unless we do some soul searching.
Set an example.
Set an example. These kind of course, human right value is also there. But at the same time, when we see that cancer is there, it is better to take it out from the body.
So we've detected the cancer and it needs to be removed. I quickly want to go across to Preeti. Preeti, one of the concerns, Preeti Chaudhary is my reporter at India Gate, there's a concern that the momentum of this movement might actually, sort of fizzle out. It's Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday, then everybody goes back to work. Are you getting the sense that this could be a movement that will take up a life of its own?
You know, Shiv, if we can say it, the movement has already taken a life of its own.
Yeah.
On day 1, we didn't know that we are going to be standing here on day 5 and we are going to be witnessing what we did. We saw history being made today, Shiv. You and I have never seen these crowds. Anna Hazare, what we thought the crowds would double. There's no leader here.
Yeah.
These are spontaneous protests.
These are
They are
just
not
people,
politically
yeah.
motivated. These are not organized crowds. You know, very quickly, Shiv, I'm going to bring in Vijay Kao. He's been tracking every detail of this protest, which is now clearly a massive movement. The question that Shiv and the panel right now are discussing, is this going to fizzle? And even if it fizzles, this is pent-up anger of years and years and years, and in 5 days what we've seen, Vijay. Have you ever seen that in our journalistic career ever?
Preeti, not really, never. Like you rightly pointed out, we've seen movements that have had leaders, voices that egg people on, that urge them to come out and fight for their rights. But this particular movement doesn't really have a leader. It doesn't really have anybody egging them on. It's the issue that is egging them on. And if you observe the pattern of this protest from a few people trickling in and then realizing that their politicians, their representatives in the parliament are not doing anything, they are just turning a deaf ear to them. That is what has brought them here out on the streets. As you can see, since morning, the echoes of "We Want Justice" refuse to die down. They've just been increasing. They've been going on and on. As you can see, people are still pouring in. They're still quite energetic and quite passionate about the issue, because this particular issue has a connect with every single person. Every girl on the streets witnesses this every day. Whether it's you, whether it's her, or anybody, every woman has faced this. And therefore, now she knows that she has no other place to go, no one to hear her out.
You know, you're right there, Shiv. You know, Shiv, whether this protest
Yes.
on Monday dies down, the crowd thins, but our politicians will know the message has been delivered.
Well, the message has definitely been delivered. If I was in the government, I'd be really nervous by what has been seen in the heart of the national capital today. And like I keep telling our viewers, and I have been right through the day, this is by no means Delhi-centric. We've seen a large part of it play out in Delhi, but we've seen big protests happen in Kolkata, in Bangalore, in Mumbai as well today. So make no mistake, this is not a Delhi-centric story. It goes out and touches a raw nerve right across this great nation. Let's hope we can make it a little greater and treat what's happening now as a tipping point to make India a better, safer place for our women and from each and every one of our citizens. I'd like to thank our guests, Kamal Farooqi, Sadia Dehlvi and Pinki Virani, for joining us this evening on this special broadcast.